All right, so we're going to look a little bit at subtracting mixed numbers, and specifically when we need to do borrowing or regrouping, or whatever you call that. Okay, so we'll start with one problem that's just kind of a straightforward one. So we'll say it's problem 1. If we had 4 and 3/5 minus 2 and 1/5, so these are mixed numbers. That means they have a whole number and a fraction as part of them. And so when I subtract numbers, and especially fractions, I like to write them vertically. So I'll usually rewrite the problem 4 and 3/5 minus 2 and 1/5. Okay, for me, I find that that's more helpful, and for my students, I found that we make fewer mistakes when we do it vertically like that. So we're going to take those, we're going to subtract the fraction part first. So if I did 3/5 minus 1/5, 3 minus 1 gives us 2. Denominator stays the same. And then we subtract the whole numbers. 4 minus 2 gives us 2. So 2 and 2/5 would be our answer. So if you have common denominators to start with and you don't have to regroup, then that would work out pretty well for you. But let's try another problem. So if we put a 2 right here, we'll say, what if we had 5 and 1/4 minus 2 and 2/4? So now with this problem, we'll notice that it's fairly similar. We have common denominators. So I'm going to rewrite it as 5 and 1/4 minus 2 and 2/4. But when I go to subtract, I'll notice something's different. I have 1/4 minus 2/4. I cannot do 1 minus 2. So I'm going to have to borrow, okay, or regroup. So I'm going to go to this 5. I'm going to take 1 whole's worth. I'm going to be left with 4. Now usually when we are borrowing, I'm going to just do a quick sidetrack. If we were, for instance, 31 minus 22, right, we borrow from that, that turns into a 2, and I bring over 10 and add the 10 to that 1 to make 11, right, because the place value of this digit is 10, so if I'm taking one of those, it's actually taking 10, I add that to the 1 and I get 11. However, in this case, we want to look at our place value. This is 1 whole's worth, and we're turning it into fraction pieces. So we could think 1 whole's worth if I'm talking about fourths. It's like I took 1 whole, which is 4 pieces or 4 parts. Okay, so 1 whole is worth 4/4. So I'm going to add those 4 pieces, 1 plus 4 right here, and that numerator is going to change to 5. So what we see here is that 4 and 5/4 is the same thing as 5 and 1/4. I've just rewritten it to regroup. So now I can do my subtraction. 5/4 minus 2/4 gives me 3/4. 4 minus 2 gives me 2. So 2 and 3/4 is my answer. Okay. So you can see the main difference here was I had to regroup or borrow before I could actually do the subtraction. Let's look at another one that's a little different. So let's say we had 5 and 3/8 minus 1 and 1/2. So if I'm doing 5 and 3/8 minus 1 and 1/2, I'm going to rewrite them vertically. And I'll notice right away, oh, I don't have common denominators. So I'm going to have to make common denominators here. If I have eighths and halves, I can't simplify this. So I'm going to have to bring this one up. And I can actually do 2 times 4 equals 8. So I can say 1/2 is the same thing. Right? If I multiply the denominator, I have to multiply the numerator. That'll give me eighths, 4/8. Okay, so I'm just multiplying both of these by 4. So 4/8 is an equivalent fraction that I'm going to take and I'm going to replace that with. So I'm going to rewrite the problem again. 5 and 3/8 minus 1 and 4/8. Now if I rewrite this one, I notice again I'm going to have to regroup because I cannot do 3/8 minus 4/8. So I'm going to cross off that 5. It's going to turn into a 4. And I am taking 1 whole's worth of parts. 1 whole is going to include, since I'm dealing with eighths, 8 pieces. Right? If I was to draw something and split it into eighths, okay, we could do it like this. Right? That's eighths. I'm taking 1 whole. That means I'm taking 8 of them that I get to add to the 3 that I already have. So I'm going to have to do 3 plus 8, which gives me 11. So 4 and 11/8 is the same thing as 5 and 3/8. But now I can subtract 11/8 minus 4/8. That gives us 7/8. 4 minus 1 gives us 3. 3 and 7/8 would be your answer. The last example that we're going to look at is what if I had something like 5 minus 1 2/3. So I'm going to follow the same steps I've been following before. I rewrite the problem vertically, 5 minus 1 2/3. And then I notice I want to subtract, but there's no fraction for me to subtract from. So I'm going to, again, borrow 1 whole's worth. And in this case, I'm talking about thirds, so I could say, okay, well, 1 whole is the same thing as 3/3. So I can just bring over 3/3, and then I can subtract. 3/3 minus 2/3 gives me 1/3. 4 minus 1 gives me 3. 3 and 1/3 would be my answer. So we can see the most important things are lining things up, making sure you have common denominators, and then regrouping or borrowing 1 whole's worth, which you're going to know based on the size of your denominator, to rewrite your fraction. Good luck.